Northwestern State finished last year 3-8, but 2 of those 3 wins came in their final 3 games. Demons closed the year with a 24-20 win at McNeese. First time NSU had won in Lake Charles in 33 years, so they bring momentum into this 2022 season. And head coach Brad Laird, who enters his 5th year at the helm of his alma mater, has the largest amount of staff turnover in his 5 seasons. 6 new coaches are in Natchitoches for this 2022 campaign. Speaking of Brad Laird, 5th-year head man is with us here. Isaiah Longino, a defensive end. We've also got a guy in Javon Antonio, talented wide receiver. Great to have all you here. Coach, kick things off. What's the offseason been like for you? And really with all this turnover, what's the transition been like?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. A lot of new. And you know, you talked about the new coaches. And, you know, when you start, you know, what an honor it is to represent Northwestern State. You look at a new president in Dr. Marcus Jones, new athletic director in Kevin Boston. 6 of the 8 full-time coaches are new. 30 new players that are new turf, new lights. You know, it's just kind of a new day, you know, and so a lot of excitement, just like it is when you have Southland Conference Media Day. It's always exciting because, you know, fall camp's right around the corner, and you know, this time of year is always exciting, but more so because, you know, fall camp's going to be different. You know, there's a lot of competition. You know, one thing that I think anytime your best players are your hardest workers, then you got a chance to be successful. And that's where we are now. And it's you know, it took us longer to get to where we are than what we wanted, but we are there now and look forward to it.
We talk about it being the largest turnover in your time as head coach. The 6 new coaches. You got a couple new coordinators as well. Cody Krill, a guy who comes from UIW, where obviously they had a lot of success. Weston Glazer as well. What's the key to acclimating so many new coaches, knowing that some of their philosophies are a little bit different? Yeah,
it has been. You know, anytime you bring in a new system, and I'll talk offensively first. The opportunity the last 4 years to coach against Coach Krill, the success that they've had at UIW, starting on the offensive side of the ball. So there's a lot of familiarity with him and our conference, him and Northwestern State, with Northwestern State and UIW. So schematically it's different. It's almost night and day from what we've done in the past, and with so many new faces. Even a lot of returners, there's a learning curve, and that's what we're going through now. Defensively, Coach Glosser comes from Campbell, but you got to go back to Sam Houston when they went to back-to-back national championship games. Coach Glosser was on that staff, and so he has the familiarity he has with the Southland Conference, with Northwestern State. So, you know, you're bringing in outside faces, but very familiar with the conference. And if you look defensively, it's going to be totally different. You know, we schematically, things have changed. We move guys around to different positions to give them the best opportunity to be successful. And so it's going to be fun to watch how it all materializes.
Let's go right there to defense, Isaiah. Talking about Coach Glosser and the mentality he's brought in. What's it been like work with him so far, and what have you seen from the defense in the offseason?
It's been great, honestly. He did a great job of coming in and setting the standard, setting the tone for us, immediately explaining exactly what he needed us to do, what our focuses were. And, of course, with the learning curve, we eventually began to get better throughout the spring. And, yeah, I'm excited for it.
What do you see from a year-to-year improvement standpoint in terms of, in your mind, the biggest things that have to change last year to this year for you guys to be successful on that side of the ball?
I would say hustle, you know, swarm, buy-in. You know, we want to play for Glacier. Off muscle, we wanted to play for him. The second he came in, we immediately bought in, you know, and I think that's going to be a big thing. We also have a lot of talent coming this year, as Coach mentioned earlier, and I think both of those things are going to be key to us being great on defense.
Speaking of talent, Javon, you guys certainly have talent on the offensive side, but again, a new coordinator in Cody Krill. What's that been like for you adapting? And take me through the offense a little bit, what you've seen so far.
It's real good. I mean, him coming in person, the first day he came in, like, hey, we're going to win. That's the first thing he told me. He's like, you know, I came from winning a conference championship. That's what I desire to bring here. He was telling me, like, that's what we're going to do. He's, like, confident about it. And I feel that it's great. Like, seeing that with everything he's installing in, it's like I see it. It's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, like, then the offensive side of the ball, we got a lot of talent, new faces around, quarterbacks, receivers, O-linemen. I just feel like it's going to be a nice season, great one.
For you personally, obviously the fall not playing, and then the previous year being an all-conference type guy, what's it going to take now for you to get back to where you've been? We know the ability that you have.
I've been grinding. I've been training all year round. Like, just I took that backseat role, just helping out the guys and letting them like learn the formation and stuff like that. But I've been doing everything I need to do to just get back where I was, just training.
This is really to both Javon and you, Coach, as well. That number 1 jersey, I think about in Northwestern State, all the guys. And I guess the latest one, I could be wrong here, Kendrick Price, I think the last one to wear it. Right. So many guys going down the line. What's that meant over the years and just the amount of talent you've had in that wide receiver?
Yeah, it's a special number. On the offensive side of the ball, started back with Jazz Ferguson. That really kick-started it. It goes before him, but I think Jazz kind of kick-started it. And, one thing about that, not only is it a good football player that's going to make a lot of plays, it's the work ethic in that number. Since I've been here, the third young man that's worn that jersey, they go out every day on a mission. And, it's not just, hey, once I get that number, I'm settled in and I've kind of made it. It's not about that. It's, now you're put in a position where you're looked at differently. Javon doesn't wear number 4. He wears number 1, and he's going to be looked at differently. And even because of what he had to go through, and both of these young men, I think their stories are unbelievable. That's what college football is about, is stories like this that put these young men in position to make a difference. Not only amongst the other 110 on our football team, but those people that look up to them. Javon having to sit out last year, that was tough. Learned a lesson. And, those are tough conversations that you have to have of what you have to do in order to get back to where you were. And Isaiah, you go back to 2019, tearing your ACL. You're the starting linebacker, and you come back 3 or 4 years later, and now you're having to move to defensive line. Those are things that only happen, not just in college football, but those stories we can't tell enough. And we got a lot of those stories on this football team that excites me about this group moving forward.
You beat me to what I was going to ask Javon about, which is having to sit out last year. What did you learn? I mean, what's the biggest takeaways that you have, and now that you can make yourself into a better player and a better man?
Basically just staying focused on and off the field. So once I learned that, came back the year round this year, and I was on honor roll. So I'm proud of myself for that.
Isaiah, Coach talked about your story as well, the torn ACL, the position change, all the time that you've had to wait. Take us through your journey a little bit to get to where you are, and put in perspective what it's taken for you to now be here as one of the leaders on this team on the defensive line.
It's been a crazy journey is how I can put it in perspective. I came in that year expecting to be an all-conference type linebacker, and it just didn't work out like that. It's not the plan God had for me, And that was a tough break for me in the moment. I had to, learn how to get through it. But it made me become a better man. It turned me into a guy that looked at things differently, decided to really study football rather than take it for granted. Kind of, we don't realize how much we do that. And I started to look at things. I took things more seriously, and then turning into a D lineman. I can't really explain how that happened, how these things happen. It just, I put the effort in, I put the work in, and I'm here for the ride. I'm just going to give my effort as much as I can throughout every game, and whatever guy has in store for me, that's what it is.
Coach, well known, the career you had at NSU, still the all-time leading passer. We know all your accolades. The quarterback position for you guys since Shelton Epler has been a little up and down. You're trying to find that guy. Take us through that room entering this year, what you're seeing, and really which guys are in the mix at the moment. Yeah,
I'll tell you, we got a good football team, but it's going to come down a lot to that one position. And the way we finished the year last year with Zach and Caleb kind of battling out. Zach, playing more of the reps as we finished up the year. And then bringing in 2 guys. We brought in a young man from Kansas and a young man from Jacksonville State to come in and compete, because we know the importance of that position and how we have to have some consistency amongst the football team, and a lot of it's going to depend on that position because they're going to be surrounded by good players up front, at receiver. Running backs, a room that we talk about just got depleted last year because of injuries with Scooter Adams, who was all conference going back to the spring season and played the first 3 games, and he was injured in those 3 games before not playing the rest of the year. So, that position, the quarterback position, is going to be surrounded by good players. It's got to be who's going to be the most consistent, take care of the football, but also make the plays when we need to be, they need to be made in those crucial situations.
We talked about your background as a quarterback. In your mind, an effective quarterback playing in Brad Laird's offense and Cody Crill's offense, what does that look like? What does he have to do to be successful? Yeah,
and it's Cody Crill's. He brought in a great system that we're excited. So it's 100% his system and the offensive coaches. But that's he's going to make great decisions and take care of the football. It's going to be a fast pace. He's going to have to lead the team, the tempo, and so he's going to have the knowledge to be able to go fast. We can't slow the game down for that position. Whoever it is, we got to go fast, and it's going to be up to that position.
Javon, for you as a receiver, moving to this up-tempo style, working with different quarterbacks, biggest adjustment for you, if there is one, adapting to this new offense?
Just getting more chemistry since I set out this past season, more chemistry with the quarterbacks, really. Everything else is been going on a faster pace, just getting back faster to the line of scrimmage is really about it. And really staying in a lot of shape because you're going to run about at least 60 routes at practice every day.
Yeah, you're getting your cardio in for sure. Are there any guys who have stuck out to you so far in the receiving room, along with yourself?
Jaren. I mean, everybody produces, you know what I'm saying? So, everybody has different spurts with it showing just about consistency, who's going to be that guy and stepping up. But we've been having guys step up lately, so it's gonna be a lot of talent in the room, like it's always been.
From the same perspective, Isaiah, I think about you guys defensively. I think you had 4 all-conference preseason selections. The secondary is really good, Coach. I want to ask you about that in a second, but take me through that defensive front and what you guys are looking at and what you think is the most exciting part about the personnel you have.
Man, we're stacked. We have depth. That's the biggest thing. First two groups on just about every position in the D-line is, I feel like could be a starter. And that just excites us,
6th for you in Demons history in terms of sacks. You got a lot of guys, Coach, who have been successful in the secondary picking off passes. I think about Shamar Bartholomew and the ability he's had. He's up to one of the all-time leaders now in school history. Take me through him and some of the other guys you think in the secondary that have stuck out.
Yeah, I think when you look at us defensively as a whole, I think the biggest thing is going to be depth, finding depth at linebacker and the back end. You look at corner, Shamar, who you've talked about, has gotten a lot of play over the last couple of years. William Hooper and Cedric Anderson. Those 3 guys, along with Trey Williams, have really played a lot on the island. And safety-wise, with P.J. coming back as a preseason all-conference, he was hurt. Missed, I believe, the last 2 games of the year last year, along with Keenan Leachman. So those guys, again, have a lot of knowledge of what it takes to be successful in the Southland Conference. It's finding depth to go along with the guys that we have defensively.
We sometimes neglect the special teams, too, but to have an all-conference punter like Scotty Robb, a little guy like Eddie Gadina, who's done it at the highest level, he's kicked game-winning field goals for you, that has to be reassuring as well to have those guys back.
It is, and before I leave defensively, one guy we kind of failed to talk about, he's in a position move, is Jomard Valson. Jomard was an outside linebacker for us last year. As schematically we've changed, he's kind of the opposite of Longino as far as the defensive end, the beast position. So that position is going to play a big key to our success defensively, and to have a better guy than him. The success he's had over the last couple of years, and then moving into special teams, that's going to change. Schematically, things are going to change in all phases, special teams wise. But when you have Scotty Robb Lowe and what he was able to do as a punter, changing the field position is huge in this game. And then Eddie, not only as what he's done as a field goal, but also kickoff. So the biggest thing is finding guys that complement them special team wise, and then finding the deep snapper.
If anyone has questions, we'll open up Q&A now as well. Just raise your hand and we'll get you a mic. I think we got one in the back over here. I don't know if we have a mic available. Just state your name and affiliation.
Ashley Elam, KBMT Beaumont. Coach, we cover Lamar, and it was a last-minute ad. While it does add stability, it caused you to lose a rivalry game against McNeese. And how tough is that to lose a game on a schedule that you look forward to that late in the process?
Yeah, to be honest, it was tough. I don't think any of us, besides Bruce in the back, realized what that room was like when you add UIW and you add Lamar to the scheduling. But we talk about the Southland Conference, and here we are 60 years with the Southland Conference. You look at Northwestern State and McNeese, you go back to 1951. So that's a long time those two teams have been playing. And, understand, yeah, we did play 3 times in 8 months. But that doesn't really take away and because we did that, allow us not to play. But you know what? It's we understand the scheduling conflicts, and we're just happy to have the opportunity to have this discussion, because if we weren't having this discussion, UIW and Lamar wouldn't be in the picture. So I think it's good to have these conversations, and those are tough conversations. But you know what? We get it. We understand. We're going to play the guys that they put in front of us, and excited to do so.
And we got one in the back corner here.
Elijah Nixon with KOB. Coach Laird, you've been in this conference for about 5 years now. You've seen teams in and out, but you see this one is getting stronger and stronger. Just talk about the growth of this Southland conference.
The growth of the conference is, man, you talk about 8 head coaches, quality head coaches that are great leading men, and great players in this conference. We had a head coaches meeting yesterday, and some of us that have been in the conference, whether it's been the last 8 or 9 years or the last 4 or 5 years or those that are new, we had great conversation that I think helps build this conference. But week in and week out, I think the preseason all-conference came out today, and Coach Selfo will probably be the first one to tell you that you can throw those out the window. But I think that just shows you the strength of this conference. But week in and week out, the opportunity to be successful is going to be there.
Coach, he was asking a little bit about scheduling and obviously bringing Lamar back and whatnot. Let's look at the schedule a little bit, because, most Louisiana teams we've talked to today, they're going to Louisiana Tech, Lafayette. You guys are going to Montana. That's not an easy place to go to for week 1, a perennial contender for national championships. Take me through the start of that schedule, and then also playing 3 of your first 4 away from home. Excited
about week 1, the opportunity for us, because we want to make that trip in December. Or play those type of teams in December, and that's why we're doing it in September. To be able to get on a plane and, a team that finished 6th last year and is going to be top 10 this year, that's where we want to be. And so in order to get there, you got to play those caliber of football teams. And I think if we didn't have belief in this football team being able to compete with the likes of Montana, we wouldn't go there. But, we're looking forward to that. And then week 2, to be able to play an in-state school in Grambling, in Shreveport, I think is great for both schools, for both universities. And then week 3 to be able to play Southern Miss. So, right out the gate, we're going to find out a lot about our football team, and I think that's going to be a key for us. If you look back over the last 4 or 5 years, we've had some success later in the seasons, but we have not started fast, and that's something that we got to do this season.
To both of you, how do you start fast then? You're going to a tough place to play, like we were talking about with Coach starting out. What's going to be the key for you guys to be ready starting week 1?
We got to come in focused, come in ready, come in hot like we've been. So it's going to take fall camp, competing in fall camp every day. We had a great start in June with workouts. We've been working very hard every day. We brought that into July. We got the momentum going into fall camp, and we're just going to keep that momentum going. Try to keep that going throughout the season.
Just like he said, when fall camp starts, you got to be locked in. Everybody has to show up on time, stuff like that. Just be locked in whatever we're doing, basically. And that's going to lead into the season.
Coach, we were chatting about this earlier, and obviously some people have asked about this too, but just your thoughts on general realignment right now in college football. Of course, you add a school like Commerce to here, and Lamar coming back in, great for the conference. But it's just your take on college football in general and the way that conferences are shaping out.
Yeah, and you see a lot of things that have shaken out and will continue to do so. I think that's why, Chris Grant and Bruce Ludlow, them getting enough credit to be able to have our conference. Because if you look 8 months ago, the things that were out there about the Southland Conference may not have been very positive. But that core group, I think, stuck together, and it showed what this conference is about. It's about sticking together. It's about guys that are being tough, head coaches that are tough, the student athletes that are tough. Byron Boston, I think he stepped out. But, 19 years ago, I think that he started and what he started with the officials and where it is now. I think you're starting to see that at other conferences, and that started here in the Southland Conference. So, it's a group that is able to get through tough times and mentally and physically tough to be able to get through those times. And you're seeing the rewards, the benefits of what's happened over the last 60 years.
It's an interesting dynamic we have now, Coach, too, because, your guy's been here 5 years. You got now a Tim Rebo who's been around for 8 years, a guy like Frank Selfo, it's 5, it's 9 now for Vic Shealy. It's been fascinating to watch the development and just the way that things have adapted in this conference, obviously for the better now.
It is, and those are guys that you mentioned that that are good friends Monday through Friday and Saturday nights. You want to kick their butt, that's the way it is. And,
I figured by game week you want to kick their butt.
Well, we'll at least wait till Saturday, but it's a good group that is able to have those conversations of what makes this conference the best that it can be. Sometimes it's not somebody saying what you want to hear. It's the truth, and I think that's what the core group of these coaches. When you talk about Timmy and you talk about Vic and you talk about Frank and what those guys have done, and it's made this conference to me the elite conference in FCS.
To both of you, final thing, what's been the best part of playing for a coach here? Just anything you've learned or grown, the way you've grown along the way?
Oh, man. Coach has done so much for me, I can't even explain it, man. Definitely a guy I plan on having in my life, for a lifelong thing. It taught me how to be a man in a lot of ways. And, that's been it. On the field, it's great, but off the field, he's a really good guy.
Yeah. Basically, I'm feed off what he said. He's a great guy to be on your side. Like, when I was going through things, he was right by my side, let me know I'm here for you every day. Then on the other side of football, he brings the energy that we need before the game. Every single game, he's pumping it up in the locker room every single game. Like, it's Coach Laird.
I didn't ask any embarrassing stuff, so
I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time, guys. Best of luck this year. Welcome back for sure, Javon, and have a great year, Isaiah. Appreciate you taking the time, Coach. Best of luck against Montana week 1.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. All right.
Appreciate it.
Up next, Lamar will have head coach Blaine Morgan. Lamar making their return to the Southland Conference. We'll also be joined by Jalen Dumais and Jack McCarthy. Cardinals are on deck. We roll along here with Southland Conference Media Day, powered by 5v1.com.